Do you believe that motivation is key to success? What if I said it's not? Because let's be real, motivation is fickle. It comes and it goes. You won't get far if your actions depend on your feelings and you constantly wait for motivation. Even the seven-figure business owners I work with don't always feel motivated. Rather than waiting, it's all about setting up a system that works when motivation takes a back seat. Let's get that system set up for you today. In this episode, I share the 4 habits you can set up now so that when you don't feel motivated, you can take charge and keep moving forward. Tune in. Welcome to the Small But Mighty Agency podcast. If you're a marketer, a consultant, or a creative who's on the journey of growing from solopreneur to agency owner, follow along because I pull back the curtains on the realities of growing and running a scalable service-based business and building a lean team. I'm your host, Audrey Joy Kwan. I know what it takes to build an agency. Whether it's from solo to 3, 5, or 20, I've done it, including supporting an agency owner to sell and exit. I've coached and consulted over 120 marketers, creatives, and consultants, and I've been behind the scenes of 7-figure businesses. I also have a master's degree in communications specializing in organizational development. All this to say, I know what it takes to grow, lead, and operate a multiple 6- and 7-figure small but mighty agency. And here on this podcast is where we'll dive right in. Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. If you've been following the series, then you know we're in part 3 of how to make better decisions. In part 1, I shared a 12-step framework that I use to support 7-figure agencies to make better decisions. In part 2, I uncovered the 5 hidden biases that sabotage the decision-making process of agency owners I work with. But once you make sound strategic decisions, it's time to implement. That's why part 3 is about the one thing we wait for or want more of to take action, and that thing is motivation. I love setting new goals, and my motivation is at its highest when I begin a new goal. I get this surge of enthusiasm and excitement. Over the years, I've realized reaching goals is a celebration, but who you become along the way is the real win. One of my goals this year is to publish long-form content, more long-form content, and an episode of my podcast every week. We've been bi-weekly for a long time now, and this year we are going weekly. Now, I have strategic reasons and personal reasons for doing this. Strategically, the goal is to increase my visibility. I've felt like a best kept secret for the past 2 years, and I'm ready to break out of that shell. Personally, I want to write and record content with more ease. Most people don't see how much time I spend overthinking my content. By creating more consistently, I give myself less time to overthink and an opportunity to use more of my voice. By sharing this goal with you, I keep myself accountable even when I'm not motivated because I know that at some point this year, the honeymoon phase of a new goal will end and it will become all about the habit. That's why I'm dedicating part 3 to motivation in our series on making better decisions. Motivation is fuel. It gets you up in the morning and ready to hit the pavement running. But what do you do when motivation isn't there? When goals seem far away and the first few actions don't turn out as expected, motivation starts to waver, and you won't get far if your actions depend on your feelings and you constantly wait for motivation. Can I be vulnerable with you? There are days I feel meh and bleh, and I don't want to work. And I know that I'm not the only one. My clients have goals and feel meh and bleh sometimes too. So how do we turn the concept of meh and bleh, in other words, not feeling motivated, into progress? How do I help others stay focused and on course even when they don't feel the same motivation? Here are 4 things that make a difference to motivation. Motivation doesn't appear from sitting on your hands, but from taking action. Of the 4 habits, 2 are related to your thought life and 2 are systems to create for yourself so you don't have to wait for motivation. Let's start with thought life. First, focus on your why. Your why is the bigger picture. It's the greater purpose for taking action. Your why isn't woo. Sometimes it might feel like you have to muster up all the energy to do one thing because it's hard to see at this moment the impact of many small actions combined for something bigger. But your why draws you back to that bigger picture. Don't focus on the action, focus on the purpose and remind yourself why the goal is important, how every little action leads to a greater purpose, even if you don't see it now. Number 2, reflect on past successes. There will be failures and negative feedback along the way. That is certain. Sometimes these can add up and really deflate you. When you reflect on your past successes, it's not about an ego trip. It's a reminder that even in past achievements, there were bumps along the way. You had the capability to get past the bumps and do hard things. Your past success is a testimony to what you are capable of today. Remember how you got here and know this goal is your next success. Now, from thought life, let's get to action. Number 3, create a routine. On low or no motivation days, routine gives you the structure to stay on track. Remember that my goal this year is to publish more long-form content and a podcast weekly. To make that happen, I'm not relying on motivation. I'm relying on blocked off and non-negotiable time in my calendar for content development. There is a big green block of hours in my calendar weekly dedicated to writing newsletters and podcast episodes. It's structure and routine. Instead of relying on motivation, I'm committed to the structure and routine. I know that when my motivation is low, I will find a reason and talk myself out of doing the action, but I remove the excuses by making it a habit to show up for the routine. Like working out, I have a trainer and I'm accountable for attending my training sessions. The same goes for the commitments in my calendar. Get a routine, commit to the routine, because waiting for motivation to strike isn't consistent. Number 4, reward yourself. Don't wait for the big goal to reward yourself. You don't even need to wait for the outcome of an action. You can reward yourself for simply taking action. My favorite reward is gifting myself the guilty pleasure of watching Korean drama, or also known as K-drama. If you watch K-drama, you know what I'm talking about. It's a different world of imagination, creativity, and fun. I'm not going to go on anymore about it. I could literally go on forever about K-drama. But yeah, could I be doing something better with my time? Absolutely. But that's why it's called a reward. Reward yourself with something fun. And I'm looking at you, the business owner who tells me the reward is going for a walk with your favorite business podcast in your ear. And I got to ask you, are you being honest with yourself? I was once you until I realized I was multitasking and it wasn't a reward. Rewarding yourself for actions and routines, not just outcomes, builds momentum. Momentum is what leads to motivation. Don't wait for motivation, because motivation isn't the secret sauce to your goals. Doing the thing when you're not motivated gets you to the goalpost. In summary, here's how to move forward even when you're feeling meh or bleh. Number 1, focus on your why. Number 2, reflect on past successes. Number 3, create a routine. And number 4, reward yourself. Moving forward isn't just about setting goals. It's about the transformation that happens in us as we chase them down. This year, I'm all in with publishing my newsletter and podcast every week. And that's about more than just getting my voice out there. It's a personal journey to create more fluidly and break free from overthinking. And let me tell you, it's also about setting up a system that works when motivation takes a backseat. Because let's be real, motivation is fickle. It shows up all guns blazing and then vanishes when you need it the most. So let's not sit around waiting for motivation to show up. Nope, we're going to take charge and keep moving forward. Remember, it's the action that breeds motivation, not the other way around. As you move forward in this series on making better decisions, you're now armed with a solid framework for strategic decision making, an understanding of hidden biases, and the know-how to keep moving forward when you're feeling meh. So stay tuned for more, and let's keep slaying one action at a time. I'll see you in the next one. Hey there, thanks for hanging out with me at the Small But Mighty Agency podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you hit the follow or subscribe button in your podcast app and share it with a friend. I'll see you on the next one.